Welcome to another episode of Sports Perspective. I'm Hayden Grove.
And I'm Franz Ross. Hayden, did you enjoy this last bye week?
Franz, I can't lie to you, it was still a busy week for me, but nevertheless, as you said, the Buckeyes are coming off a bye week and looking forward to a Buckeye State battle with the Cincinnati Bearcats on Saturday night. I went to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center on Monday to see how the Buckeyes are preparing for the Cincinnati passing attack and to check out the many Cincinnati connections within the Ohio State football program.
A very tough opponent this week. Cincinnati, have a lot of respect for them. Offensively, they've been good in the past. They're exceptional now.
The Buckeyes often take on in-state opponents, as they did against the Kent State Golden Flashes just a couple of weeks ago. But as the Cincinnati Bearcats come into town, for a couple of coaches and players, an aura of nostalgia seems to put this Buckeye battle above the rest. With Urban Meyer playing for the Bearcats as a walk-on, Tim Hinton coaching the Bearcats for 5 seasons, Kerry Coombs having been born and raised and employed in Cincinnati before ultimately also coaching the Bearcats, and Cincinnati-born defensive end Adolphus Washington having been recruited by Cincinnati, one thing is for certain. There is much admiration for the Bearcats, and the Buckeyes will not be taking Saturday's battle lightly.
Strong, emotional. My sister's associate provost at Cincinnati. My other sister was a homecoming queen there, and obviously my dad and my grandfather. Just strong history at UC.
That's my hometown, you know, and I grew up on the Reds and the Bengals and the Bearcats, and all, but I also grew up on the Buckeyes. And so my hometown, my home state, you know, I mean, all of that makes things hard.
And, you know, now there's a lot of people that, you know, between doctors and trainers and, you know, director of ops and those people that are still there that I know very well. The players have all come and gone in the time I've been gone. But, you know, it certainly was a great place for me to get back into college football and enjoy it.
I don't know. It's just that feeling of playing against my hometown, my home city. I don't know.
I'm not in their locker room. I'm not in their meeting rooms. I am certain. I think they are a very dynamic athletic team. I think they play very hard, and I think their coaches are going to have them incredibly well prepared.
I stood on that sideline twice with the University of Cincinnati coming against Ohio State, and I know how special it is for those guys to come into the stadium and play us.
Linebacker Josh Perry may not be a Cincinnati native, but he too understands the importance of playing the Bearcats.
Cincinnati's a really good school, so it'll be the best 2 Ohio teams going at it, and so we've got to really prepare for them. I know that we're going to get a great shot from them.
Cincinnati will bring a vaunted aerial assault to Ohio State, complete with former top quarterback recruit Gunnar Kiel at the helm. And it seems that while they've been untested thus far, this is the time for the Buckeyes' defensive backfield to prove their worth.
This is the test. This is the one that we're all kind of shooting for, and they're really good in throwing the ball, and it'll be a challenge for us.
This is the best group of receivers that we've seen this year, maybe the best group that we will see all year. This is a very dynamic quarterback. They spread the ball out. They throw it to all areas of the field.
Very excited about it. We know that what Gunnar Kiel likes to do. He likes to throw the ball, and our DBs are ready to step up to the challenge and guard the receivers and taking away the pass.
The Buckeyes are also looking to rush the quarterback and stop the run on Saturday, but they'll have to do so without Noah Spence. While Spence's situation is very much in the air, Meyer offered an update on the defensive end Monday afternoon.
He's not going to practice now. That was just last week. So he's not practicing. He's getting full-time treatment. He is working out just for his well-being.
Overall, the coaches believe that the Buckeyes put together a great week of practice throughout the bye week and will be ready to go when the lights come on at Ohio Stadium.
The bye week practices were really, really outstanding. When you look at the volume of work that we got done in those the bye week practices, the 3 we had last week, they were excellent.
It will be an evening affair on Saturday as Urban Meyer looks to avoid an 0-3 career record against Tommy Tuberville from the Horseshoe at 6 p.m. Until then, for the Lantern TV, I'm Hayden Grove. Have you ever wondered how an Ohio State football game comes about? How do teams like Cincinnati, Kent State, and Virginia Tech appear on the schedule? I spent the bye week looking into these questions and wound up getting an inside look at the art of football schedule making at Ohio State. This is where it all happens. The whiteboard of Ohio State's Executive Associate Athletic Director, Martin Jarmond, who can also be referred to as the Buckeyes football schedule maker.
It was really interesting to me because there's so many moving parts and pieces, and you got to have relationships nationally that helps, you know, and you got to just have a feel for numbers, data, inexact science, projecting out, and it's important.
So what does it mean to be Ohio State's schedule maker? How does Jarmond even begin the schedule making process?
you sit down with Mr. Smith and just, you know, get a philosophy on how we want to schedule. You know, what's your strategy? And his that he's outlined is, you know, at least trying to have a top 10 team opponent every year, then a top 25, top 30 type opponent, and then, you know, maybe a top 50 or what you can attract.
With the request of his boss in place, it's up to Jarman to get down to business.
If I know that we need to get a top 10 team for 17 and 18, I run a list of 15 programs that have consistently finished top 10, top 15 over the last 5 years. I look at their Sagarin strength of schedule, their ratings, and what conference they're in, and I kind of come up with a list of schools.
From there, other factors play a role in the schools upon Jarman's list. While some are grounded in the facts of the gridiron, others are based loosely on football and more on things you may not even think of.
You know, alumni base. Do we have an alumni base there? You know, TCU, that's one of our series. You know, we have a nice alumni base in Texas. That was important. We also recruit in Texas. That was important.
It's these factors that help Jarman to narrow the list. And then?
You kind of have your strategy, you have schools you're looking at, and then you say, okay, who can we get?
As Jarman first started in these constant negotiations, he quickly began to notice something that he never thought was possible.
You know, most of the time, if it's a school that we're just trying to attract for a home game and we're not going to their stadium, you know, there's not a lot of schools that want to play us. You know, it's not like, wow, you know, we'd love to come to Columbus in 107,000. I thought it was going to be that way. It's not really that way.
One factor that may further inhibit the Buckeyes from getting potential opponents to come to the Horseshoe is the very nature of scheduling in itself.
So if we want to schedule stronger, and there's 70 other teams right now that are starting to schedule stronger, the list of teams, everybody's trying to do that now. You need to go ahead and do what you can do now before, hey, we can't play you because we don't have anything available. And that's really the landscape now. So everything is just kind of accelerated, and you have to kind of project out where teams are going to be.
So how can the Buckeyes protect against poor scheduling so far in advance?
I wish if I had a way to do that, I'd probably be in a consulting business just on football scheduling if you could do that. You know, it's an inexact science, but what I try to do is, you know, use the data as much as I can on where you've been to kind of give us an idea of where you may be.
With so much on his plate, all of these factors compiling into one big meal, does Jarman ever feel the heat in the kitchen?
There is pressure. There's pressure, especially when it looks like it may not work out. There was I can tell you there was a Pac-12 school that was really attractive, and we wanted to play them, but the year they would have needed us to come out there was an odd year where we only had 4 home games, and so it would have, you know, if it would have flip-flopped the other way, we would have done it.
Sometimes, however, they do work out. Take Ohio State's latest scheduling edition, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Truth be told, we had that ready to go. We thought we had something in place probably a month before, and something fell through, and it was off. Like literally, that series was not going to happen, and we kind of got back going on it. So you know, that one, you know, it would have announced a month earlier if we could have gotten it done.
With Oklahoma, TCU, Oregon, Notre Dame, Texas, and Boston College appearing on Ohio State's schedule in the future, Jarman is very confident in what he's been able to assemble and even has a challenge for the naysayers.
I would say judge us by 2016 and out. You know, you tell me another school right now that has BC, Texas, and Notre Dame in the same year. You know, we've gone pretty hard, 16 and out.
After that look into Ohio State football, we're now going to see what the rest of Ohio State athletics has in place. On Friday, the women's soccer team takes on the Illinois Illini from right here in Columbus, starting at 7 p.m. On Saturday, in addition to the battle between the Buckeyes and the Bearcats, the men's soccer team heads to Dayton to take on the University of Dayton Flyers at 1 p.m., while the men's cross-country team takes to Minneapolis, Minnesota for the Roy Griak Invitational. And on Sunday, it's a jam-packed day of Ohio State athletics, including women's soccer against Northwestern, women's hockey against Western College, women's field hockey against Penn State, women's volleyball against Wisconsin, and softball against Kentucky. After starting out with an underwhelming 2-4 record, the women's field hockey team welcomed the Appalachian State Mountaineers to Columbus for a Sunday game. Our assistant sports director Aaron Yerian has the highlights from the Buckeyes match.
Following Friday's 4-3 overtime loss to the Michigan State Spartans, the women's field hockey team bounced back against the Mountaineers of Appalachian State on Sunday. Freshman forward Maddie Humphrey finished the day with her first career hat trick as the Buckeyes cruised to a 9-1 victory over the Mountaineers. The Buckeyes improved their record to 3 wins and 4 losses on the season. Humphrey's efforts for the day also earned her Big Ten Freshman of the Week honors for the second time this season. After the match, head coach Ann Wilkinson had this to say about her team's performance over the weekend.
I think today was a real tribute to this team being able to bounce back. Sometimes you come off of a Big Ten game and they kind of emotionally let down. They've really stepped up their game today. I mean, they played so strong against Michigan State. I was real proud of them. It was just, the goals will come, and it was just unfortunate that we lost that game. But today, coming out and scoring 9 goals against anybody is great.
Hayden, Heisman winner Jameis Winston got into a little trouble on the Florida State University campus last week when he said an expletive in the student union. Can you elaborate on what that means for the Florida State program, even though they beat Clemson last week?
Well, what's up with these Heisman winners getting in trouble? We've seen Johnny Manziel on a lot of internet pictures getting himself into situations. I don't know. Jameis Winston just seems to be a selfish guy at this point. Hopefully he figures it out, and we'll see if the Florida State Seminoles can't repeat as national champions. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for this episode of Sports Perspective. Be sure to tune in next week as we recap Ohio State's big battle with the Bearcats. Until then, for Franz Ross and the entire crew here at the Lantern TV, I'm Hayden Grove.